Hi everyone, it is April from Getting Hooga With It. Today we are going to be doing my September TBR. With the cup, of course. Let's get into it. I am so eager for fall. I have decorated all of my house, well, really downstairs. But I'm so eager, and like the September TBR just screams, it's time to celebrate fall. So before we get into the cup, we're going to discuss what I am currently reading. I'm still working my way through Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. I'm listening to this on audio and I'm enjoying it. I was for quite a while in August reading this alongside The House at Riverton by Kate Morton, and they have characters that are named the same thing, like Fanny. I didn't know what was happening in Fanny here versus Fanny there, and it was confusing. So The House at Riverton is done, thank goodness, and now I can just focus on this classic. This follows a Fanny named Fanny Price, who goes to stay with her aunt and her cousins, and she's kind of raised by them, and they're elite and she's not. And she's repeatedly put in her place. And then some newcomers come to town and they're from London. Her cousins are very like wrapped up in their glitz and glamour, and she just feels like there's something a bit off, and it's, you know, her not clashing with her cousins, but trying to convince them that like maybe we should be careful around these people. It is good so far. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Jane Austen thus far, but I'm liking it. There's that. And then I need to tell you the book club pick. If you don't know, I have a little Patreon book club, and every month we read a book together. This month the theme was the immigration experience, and they were choosing between Brooklyn and also Americanah, and they chose Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I have been wanting to read this book forever. I have only read her little tiny nonfiction books, and I just know that I'm going to love this book. I just know it's going to be a 5-star book. We follow two lovers who had lived in Nigeria together, but they have to leave Nigeria, and they both immigrate to different areas. One of them immigrates to America and the other immigrates to England. I think London in particular, I could be wrong. And it's about their experiences immigrating. I'm so excited to read this. So if you want to join us, the Patreon page is linked in the description box below, and you can read Americanah with us. I will be doing a very, very, very spoiler-filled vlog in September for this book. All right, it's time to get into the cup. First, we should go through the prompts that are in here. So, we've got favorite author. We've got out of comfort zone, reread, husband pick, baby pick, gifted, short read, blurbed. So this is like blurbed by a favorite author of mine. Series, big book, most recent buy, and I need to talk to you about one of them because I think I'm going to take out a prompt entirely from the cup. It's a library book. I'm thinking of taking this out entirely from the cup and the options within the cup because I took out a ton of audiobooks in August and I got really stressed out. I have already so many beautiful books on my shelves that I really want to read. I don't need this pressure in my life, I don't think. So I'm going to take this out, and right from the get-go, oopsie, add another prompt in. P.S. I've added some more prompts to this pile. So I will add poll, so you guys would get to pick. Okay, so all of these prompts for the TBR are ready to go into the cup, and now we need to pick. Baby pick. Okay, so I will select a few books and little Nora will choose. Just a second. All right, so I'm going to put 3 books in front of Nora, and it will be whatever book she goes for first that I will read. So there's What Lies Between Us by John Mars. I've chosen all thrillers because why not? Thrillery horror books. So What Lies Between Us was recently gifted to me, which I'm so grateful for, by Sandy. And this is about 2 women who live together and they, have dinner together. But at the end of the night, one of them, Nina, brings Maggie to her room and shackles her to the bed. So some sort of drama and strangeness is going on there. I think it's because of something that Maggie did that can't be forgiven. Sounds good. Next is Malorie. I've been meaning to read this forever. This is the sequel to Bird Box. A world in which there is something outside. And when you see that something, you go crazy. You kill everyone around you and you kill yourself. So the world is basically boarded up, including Malorie and the 2 kids she's with. And she's trying to survive with these kids, and it's the continuation of her story. And then there's The Shadows by Alex North. This is about a group of boys. One of them is murdered by the town bully, but he's like more than a bully. Everyone knows that he has problems, and no one is shocked when he murders several people, I think. Now our main character leaves this town because that's a lot to deal with as a child, but he has to go back because his mother is ill. And then all of a sudden, murders very similar start happening again. Woo! So we'll see what Nora chooses. Guess who just woke up from her nap and is ready to choose a good book for her mama. So here's the setup. We'll see which one Nora will go for first. Okay, that's not the way. What about over there? You're picking other things. This is the way. These are what you're choosing from. This is gonna take a while. Are you gonna choose? Can I take this away just so that maybe you'll choose a book? Yes. Which one? Which one? You haven't decided. Oh, the shadows! Nice. Good choice. Okay, so now we have to add another prompt. Oh, hair. Into the cup. So we're going to add Treat Yourself. I have been doing a ton of that lately. So, okay. Now, what do we got here? What's this? Out of Comfort Zone. I'm actually really glad this came up because I've got a few that I'm very interested in. Let's go and check them out. Okay, so I've got romances here. Yeah, I don't read a lot of romance. I don't mind it though. When I know going in, it's gonna all be about romance, I can kind of get on board. So I've got 3 books that I'm gonna choose from. There is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, and this is about a black woman who has a brush with death or dies, and then she obviously survives it, and she essentially decides, okay, my life is not working the way it is, so she writes a list of things she wants to do, and she ends up meeting this handyman guy along the way, and there's a romance, so I could read that. I could read, and what I probably will read, is One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. This is basically The Bachelorette, but it's if The Bachelorette were a plus-size woman who reached out to the franchise and said, hey, you're missing some representation, and they decide to take her and make her the Bachelorette. It's supposed to be really good. I'm really excited, and as a plus-size woman, it's nice to see this in a book. The next is How to Walk Away. I'm not sure if this is actually romance. I think it has some romantical elements. Romantical. This is about Margaret, who is in a really good place in her life. She's got a dream job. She's got a fiance that she loves. And I believe there might have been a plane crash. I don't know. There's a plane on the cover, something happens, and she's in the hospital and everything is ripped away from her. And it's about her rebuilding her life. She has a physical therapist. I think there was a plane crash. It sounds very interesting. So I could read one of those. Okay, it's time to add another thing to the cup. Let's choose this one. Backlist. We'll put it into the cup. I'm kind of sad that none of the new prompts that I came up with are coming up. Come on! Okay, so we've got to shuffle this around because it's been a while since we've shuffled. And shuffle. Okay, ready? Series. I'm really, really happy that this came up. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I have two books for series that I'm going to choose from. The first is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is a prequel to the Hunger Games series, and it follows Professor Snow, President Snow. I always say Professor Snow, but this follows him while he's in the Hunger Games. Now, I haven't heard the best things in the world about this book. Not everyone likes this book, but I want to find out for myself. I pre-ordered this and I still haven't read it. What have I been thinking? So that is an option. And the other option, any guesses? Yes, it's another free decline series. I'm on Sunday Silence, which means this is the second to last book. But, okay, so I've been putting them off because I love them so much. But my goal is to finish this series this year. I really love having a whole detective-y series to read throughout a year. It makes me really happy. So yes, Sunday Silence by Nikki French. So this whole series follows a psychotherapist named Frida Klein. She tends to get involved with murders, and trying to track down murderers or people who have been kidnapped or what have you. She just repeatedly gets involved. And in this one, there's a body found in her house. And if you've been reading this series, you know that Frida's house is like, it's very hygge. It's like cozy and her safe space. And I just love her house. I feel like I want to visit this imaginary house. And the idea of a dead body being there, I mean, well, that will really screw her up. So I'm so excited to read that. So I could read either one of these. All right. And now it's time for another prompt to go into the cup. Oh, here, here's a prompt that I just created. I got so excited. It's people on the cover. So I'll have to, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Find a book with a person on the cover. Oh my gosh, April. I'm just so silly today. Okay, so it's gone in the cup. And now I'm going to kind of root around. Oh, I ended up picking up people on the cover. Okay, let me go and find books with people on the cover that I could read. Okay, this is unbelievably easy. I didn't realize just how many times there are people on the cover of books. For example, 5 of the books that I selected have people on the cover. I've selected different ones, but One to Watch has a person on the cover. Get a Life, Chloe Brown has 2 people on the cover. The Shadows has 4. Malorie has 1. And then What Lies Between Us has 2. So, well, those ones, though, are for different prompts. So I've collected 3 that I'm very excited about. The first is Luster by Raven Lilani. So you can see, here's her hair and this is her back. I love this cover. I think it's so interesting. It has a bit of a 70s vibe to me for some reason. I think it's the font. This is about a Black woman living in Bushwick in New Jersey. It takes place in America. For some reason I had it in my head that it took place in Europe. In any case, she meets a man at work and starts flirting with him, and very soon after he tells her that he is in an open marriage and he'd like to invite her to stay with him and his wife and his daughter. And she does. She does. And she ends up befriending the wife and being a bit of a role model for the daughter. It sounds so interesting. I'm not usually I have a hard time with infidelity stories, but this is just very fascinating, and there's something about it that reminds me of Queenie. Maybe someone putting themselves in a difficult situation where you can easily be taken advantage of. Maybe that's it. So I could read Luster. Another book that I could read is Mexican Gothic. I mean, this is the most gorgeous cover ever. This takes place in 1950s Mexico, and we follow a woman who receives a letter from a cousin who's just recently gotten married. She's kind of moved away with her new husband and his son, and she receives a letter that's like, come and get me. I need your help. Come and get me. So she goes, and she's, not someone who would usually be confrontational or deal with difficult issues like this, but she goes in and she's trying to help her cousin. Apparently the house is very creepy. I mean, it's called Mexican Gothic, so it sounds fantastic, so I could read that. And then the last one that I've chosen as well is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. So here's the 2 women. Oh my goodness. So this follows twins. Their father dies and they run away from home, but they run away from home separately and not together. And one of them goes on to essentially pass as white. She doesn't tell her husband that she has a Black family or that she's Black. She doesn't tell anyone, and she passes as white. And then her sister, her other twin, decides to have a Black family. And it is about what happens to their lives and the different directions that they take. And then I believe that there is coming together. I imagine there will be coming together. It's meant to be a retelling of Nella Larsen's passing, which I adored. I read that many years ago at university, and I loved that book. And so I think I'll love this too. Honestly, I have no idea for this one, which one I will pick. Oh my goodness. I'm just so excited. So those are the 4 prompts. Short and sweet today. I hope that you guys are doing really, really well. In the description box below, you can check me out on Goodreads, on Instagram. My Amazon wish list is there. There's Patreon if you want to read Americanah with the group. I mean, that would be lovely. I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a wonderful September reading month. It's fall. Hooray. Bye, guys.